In the beginning of your book, you say every thought in this book, um, and the basis of who you are, is undergirded by one basic principle. And this is something I hear you say. I think you posted. I don't know if you're still on that Bird app. I don't even want to say it, uh, but I'm not
That's
sure if
right.
you're on that app still.
On Be
But you
the
say
Bridge
it all the
podcast.
time.
We only talking
Yeah.
about Be the Bridge podcast.
Oh, the
Make
Be
sure
the
y'all
Bridge podcast.
subscribe that. That's right.
You say you're a mess yet deeply loved by God. Why is this important to start from there and build on that?
Yeah, that's a
You
great point.
always post about it. Uh, I think you may have a T-shirt and
Oh,
stickers,
I
but
do.
it's
I do have a
yeah, it's
t-shirt.
like
People love the t-shirt.
you are a mess yet deeply loved by God.
Yeah.
Why is that important to start from there
Yeah, because I think
and
most of
build
us
on that?
start out of the personal development. We started out of guilt and shame.
Uh,
We start our changes out of
yeah.
guilt and shame, right? That's the sisters. Guilt, shame, right? You're trying to change yourself by guilt and shame. And that's never sufficient because if you move forward and you fail, they're just gonna scoot tighter to you, right? They're gonna move in closer to you and remind
Hmm.
you why. And you have to know that you are loved first, right? That you are deeply loved for
Yeah.
who you are, not for who you pretend to be, who you project to be, for who you are. When
Mm.
you know you are loved for who you are, it changes the tone of how you're able to be courageous about changing your life. And so when I talk about that, I talk about the I am a mess part. It means you are who you are, flaws and all, right? None of us need
Mm.
to lie about that. Again, we're in very essential work and coaching and bridge building, but you gotta admit your own biases, right? Like your own
Hmm.
explicit and subconscious biases. You have to, because this is just a part of this journey. But you're not
Hmm.
just those biases and the weaknesses. You are the strengths. You are the beauty. You are loved. And when you do that, now it's not so paralyzing every time you make a mistake. You can say something stupid. I'm sure y'all probably covered this in y'all's training, right? Saying
Uh-huh.
maybe y'all call it saying something stupid in a conversation and how you
Uh-huh.
can recover from it because you're
Yeah.
loved. You move into these
Yeah.
environments where you are loved and it doesn't characterize you. It's just a part of the journey. It's just a part of the process. And so I talk about this self growth, self actualizing journey. It has
Hmm.
to be rooted in that. Otherwise, it'll be rooted in shame and guilt, and it'll lead
Yeah.
us instantly back to the places that we really don't want to see.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think sometimes if we're just honest with, you know what, this is a mess. This is a mess.
That's
But
it.
it doesn't have to remain a mess, you know?
That's
And
it.
I think, just that admitting that, I always say, in this world of racial literacy, we always say, it's broken, it's a mess, it's a complete mess. We didn't create the mess, but it is our responsibility to bring about solutions for it. And so I think that's what you're saying there. What encouragement or advice would you give to those of us in the racial adjustment work, those who are listening? They're in this work of racial justice,
Mhm.
and they need to make time for rest, self-care. I mean, so many. I mean, I was just thinking about um, um, I think the young lady that was in Texas, I think her name was Tatiana. Her sister just passed, and her sister was very young. It was the little boy that she was actually playing video games. Her nephew, his mom, just passed from heart failure.
Wow.
You hear about. I heard about the guy up in New York. His name is so many names, but Eric Garner. I think that was Eric Garner up in New York, where his I think it was his daughter. Her health. I mean, and just like you're hearing about suicide of a lot of activists and just
Yeah.
all these things. And so we know that rest and self care is important. I mean, even with our organization, we probably give a little more vacation than the typical organization. We have a period of time during the summer where we just all shut it down, because it's one thing when you take vacation, but when
Yeah.
everybody else is working, when you come back, you got a whole pile on,
Right.
and so, but we take a time during the summer where we just kind of give everyone a time to reset. We have to do things a little different than the
Mm.
typical organization because of what we deal with, and the the stress that it causes. And
Yep.
so, but a lot of times that's overlooked and not prioritized. What are some of the things that you do that can help those that are listening, that are involved in the racial justice space? What are some things that you're doing that can cause them to center rest and self care?
Yeah, that's a great question. So two things. One, pick up 5 copies of The Awaken, A Better You book. Available on
Right.
Audible,
Yeah.
Amazon, Target,
Yes.
Barnes and Noble,
Yes.
wherever books are sold. And I mean that very
Uh-huh.
seriously. And go
Yeah.
through it because it's detailed instruction on how to take care of you in a holistic way, right?
Mm.
So I think this is really important. Is like we're kind of winging it, and self care means like taking baths, getting
Yeah.
massages. Well, that
Yeah.
doesn't resolve other meaningful areas of
Exactly.
life. And
Mm-hmm.
I would just say, especially as you go check it out, buy 5 copies, go through it with friends, especially for those who are doing the critical work, because you do need to have a mature
Okay.
knowledge on how to take care of yourself. The second thing is,
Mm-hmm.
and this is what we do, you talked about charity. One of the ways that keeps me from being burnt out is not just the rest that I take, it's the work that I do. And the work that I do
Mm.
with like orphans and with kids that
Yeah.
recharges my spirit, right? Because it's not about contention. It's not trying to argue with anybody. It's not about trying to create some type of emotional trap. It's I am working with human beings, helping them flourish by providing their basic needs like clean water, clothing, beds, education. And when I watch those seeds grow, it inspires my hope, right?
Mm.
It keeps me from being caught up in foolish talk, keeps me being caught
Mm-hmm.
up in foolish debate. One of the best things I did, I say this a lot. I left certain groups and my mental
Mm-hmm.
health cleared up because I don't have to engage in argument and debate. I'm only engaging in the things that build people up, that bring
Mm-hmm.
shalom to my soul. And so I think you got to find those things. What are
Mm-hmm.
the things for you? For us, it's BBU Cares. That's one of the things that I do. But you got to find your things. What are
Mm-hmm.
the things that you do every day or that you do that you're doing intentionally that bring peace and rest to your soul to where now as you're doing some of these difficult work, you really have a better balance and you're not burnt out.